Kia ora and talofa lava, Brooke. Thank you so much for coming in to talanoa about homelessness, which we've seen a spike in Auckland, a 90% increase. But as you've mentioned before, there's been spikes in other regions. But from a Pasefika perspective, why is it so bad for that community?
Thank you so much for having us on the show today. And I think there's a number of things that have contributed to the increase in homelessness in the cities and across the regions. From a Pacific perspective, though, I think it's impacting our communities a little bit more severely than it is other communities. And that's to do with socioeconomic status, rent being one of the highest in the world, and also not having enough public housing or even affordable housing, I think. There's a whole bunch of government decisions that have been made as well that have also contributed to the increase in homelessness. I mean, homelessness doesn't manifest in a silo. And so, successive government choices and policies have contributed to the increase, but it's been made worse with this current coalition government.
I'm going to get back to you on the government's decision. You've pointed out the flaws in the system. What are you doing on the ground to address those problems?
So I work with Manaaki Rangatahi, which is the only youth homelessness collective in Aotearoa. So we provide a space for youth service providers and youth housing providers to come together to mitigate youth homelessness, working across different spaces to ensure that rangatahi are housed, while also advocating for systems change.
Could you give us an example or a success story of a youth that you've worked with and they've managed to secure housing?
It takes a lot, I think. I think we don't often, we might not be aware or even recognise that it takes a lot of love and care and support, actually, of rangatahi to get them to a place of feeling well enough in themselves to be able to look after themselves, actually. I think Manaaki Rangatahi, there are different organisations that we work with that often have supported rangatahi into a place of being able to care for themselves. But it requires, like I said, a lot of work from organisations, from government departments to having the right people in the right place at the right time, and also ensuring that along that journey that rangatahi is supported, loved and cared and reminded actually of their own voice and their own power.
Earlier in our talanoa, you mentioned that the coalition government, their decision has contributed to this homelessness spike or crisis. Have you had those direct conversations with them? Could you collaborate with them?
We haven't reached out to them, or I know that our po Arahi has put out several comms to ask to meet with them to discuss some of the things that we're seeing on the ground, to talk about alternatives to emergency housing, but nowhere yet to meet with them directly. I know there are some member organisations and other organisations within the youth homelessness space that have been in contact or directly talking with government. And I know that there was a decision made last week for them. They're looking at, they're going to relook at some of the eligibility criteria for emergency housing. And that's come off some conversations based with Auckland City Mission and some other organisations that are on the front line. But I think it's hard right now for them to kind of understand the impacts of their decisions, especially I think when there's a lack of accountability or responsibility wanting to be taken for what we're seeing right now.
Have they put forward any solutions, and do you think they're effective?
I think it's successive government choices and policies that have contributed to the increase in homelessness right now. And I think that those policy choices and decisions are actually underpinned by a certain set of values that don't recognise housing as being a human right. We're looking at a politics of ego, of competition, of division. greed and profit instead of kind of looking at values that underpin our politics and decision making that should be grounded in manaakitanga and aroha, in compassion, care, sharing. Honouring te tiriti would be a nice start, I think. I think it's really important that our leaders not only talk about these things, but also have the actions and policies that reflect those values.
Okay, so what solutions is your organisation offering that's not currently seen in the government?
Yeah, I think there are, honouring te tiriti would be a good start. I think we're also, ensuring that housing is a human right, that there's a plan in place actually to address not only youth homelessness but also homelessness in general. I think we need to look at the different contributing factors, actually, the structural inequities that also contribute to homelessness and ending homelessness. Like, we can't talk about ending homelessness unless we also talk about ending poverty. And so, because we know that the two are intertwined. Working with community housing providers to ensure that, housing and the services that are provided for rangatahi and people and communities in general are actually culturally fit for purpose, and they're connecting in with the communities that have actually been forgotten about or underserved by our current constitution.
Cool. And just to wrap up our talanoa, Brooke, what's your message to those who are on the brink of homelessness or who are struggling to find secure housing?
Oh, gosh. Yeah, I don't... I don't really... Sorry. I don't really know, what I would say. I don't really have any words, actually. Sorry. I don't know what I would say, actually, to anyone who is about to experience that or is experiencing that. I don't know. Sorry.
It's okay. I mean, it's quite a bleak season at the moment.
No, yeah.
All right. Thank you, Brooke. Any last words?
No, I'm all good. Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah.